You're listening to Create Wealth Through Franchising, and I'm your host, Kim Daly. In my 20 years as a franchise consultant, I've helped hundreds of people achieve their dreams of building and scaling franchise businesses to create wealth. The interview you're about to hear can also be found on my YouTube channel, where I post new franchising content multiple times per week. Please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and to my YouTube channel at kimdaly.tv. Now, enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Daily Coach YouTube channel. Today, we have a daily double for you all. His name is Tom Scarda. You've seen him here before. Tom Scarda, welcome back to Kim Daly TV.
It is an honor, Kim. Of course, I love being with you.
We had such an invigorating conversation about the 7.5 potholes on the way to franchising freedom. And in that conversation, Tom said something really interesting that I had never heard before. He said, Tom, what did you say? Tell the audience.
So what I said is, as I work with people and like you do, helping people find franchising and change their life, their final choice is not the choice between franchise A or franchise B, but it's the choice between uncertainty or unhappiness.
Uncertainty or unhappiness. And then guess what he said? He had a book. I had no idea. I had never heard that before. Choosing uncertainty or unhappiness. Unhappiness meaning regret. Uncertainty meaning you don't know what's coming next. So I thought, you know what? You got to come back on and we have to talk just about that, because that is really the entire conversation about saying yes to your dreams to own a franchise business. It's always about that. So take it away, Tom. Tell the viewers about why you wrote this book and about what that means.
So the book is The Magic of Choosing Uncertainty and how to embrace fear and live a fulfilled life. And it's important because every life decision comes down to uncertainty or unhappiness. Even when it comes down to like, what college am I going to go to, right? Should I stay local? Should I go away? Like even that. And then where you're going to live? Should I change states? Should I change cities? All of it is uncertainty or unhappiness. And as I work with candidates and they're going through the process, they're excited. And at the last minute, they get cold feet, right? And as we talk about the 7.5 potholes to franchise freedom, the seventh pothole is the 11th hour when you're at your desk or your kitchen table writing a check for a franchise fee that is like equal to a down payment on a house in some cases. And so people freak out. And I thought that if we can kind of help coach people through all of that anxiety and fear, which is normal and natural, then we can help people realize their dreams and realize that that choice is natural. It happens to everyone. You might have heard the phrase, I know you heard the phrase, when a door shuts, another one opens or a window opens. Mm-hmm. That's true. If you've ever experienced that, it's unbelievable. But what I have found in my life is that when I choose to close the door, 1,000 windows open.
Wow.
And that is the magic of uncertainty. It's a gray area. I wish there was some kind of mathematical formula so I could prove it to the naysayers, but you can't. It's having faith in yourself, having faith in God or your creator, whatever you believe in. And when you do that and you say, I raise my hand, I'm going to change. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do better for the world, for my family, for myself. Then magical things happen. The universe comes to your back. Doors open. People come in your path. And it's magical. There's no other way I can say it.
How many candidates I know have gone down this path? I know you've probably had this happen to your candidates too, where they're vetting another job, like a new job and a franchise. And I mean, I tell my candidates, if you're in transition, the fastest way to be offered your dream job is to be right at the edge of saying yes to your franchise dream, because that is when the universe is going to test you. But the great thing is people are like, no, I don't want that to happen. I'm like, no, you do want that to happen. because then you get to make the choice of what you wanna do. It's not gonna be a wrong choice. Whatever you choose will be right, but it'll all come back to your motivations for taking a job, your motivations for saying yes to the dream, and saying yes to the franchise business, right? But one is probably choosing more certainty in a job, but there's some uncertainty there, but the other, choosing the business, is absolutely choosing the road to uncertainty, at least in the beginning, right?
Absolutely, and I start the book with that quote, that famous quote. I took there was I was walking in the woods and two roads diverged. I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference.
By Robert
So that
Frost.
Robert Frost. So that is kind of how I feel, and I've done it myself. And also, I have to remember one of our great friends, Melissa Lewis, had said to me years ago, the safest day on your job is day one, and every day you're there, it gets less and less safe because you become dispensable. Your first day in a business is your most unsafe day, and it gets safer and safer and safer because you're building a customer base,
Oh, wow, that is genius too.
right? So that, I mean, that
Collectively,
I,
I have to say, guys, collectively, our universe at Fran Choice, we mean, we you put us all together, we could change the world for real. Like,
yeah,
we
I
have
mean,
more just analogies and ideas and thoughts about changing your life, among the 80 or 90 consultants, right? Like, you can learn something from everybody, no matter how many years you've been a franchise consultant.
it's such
Everybody
a blessing.
has such a great way of looking at it. It's awesome.
It's so true. And I just have to share, back in the day before I was in franchising, I was a subway conductor. And so if you ever been in New York City and rode the subway, I was the guy opening and closing doors, making announcements that nobody could hear because it was all mumbled. And one day an old timer said to me, well, first, when I got the job, it was like Jesus came and visited my house. That's how excited my mother was. You got a job. It has a pension. You have benefits. You got all right. And it was like the most unbelievable thing in our family that I got this great city job, this government job, all the security. And one day, an old timer said to me, "Yeah, kid, this is a great job because you'll always have a shirt on your back. You'll never have a silk shirt, but at least you'll have a shirt." And I was like, what? That sounds like mediocrity to me. And I know that I want to be more. And I realized that, my bosses, as much as I love them, and some I still talk to, believe it or not, they were not wearing the silk shirts or they were not living the lifestyle that I wanted to live. Business owners were. And I knew I needed to be a business owner. So I went through the process that Kim will bring you through. And I was matched by a franchise consultant, Carol Mercurio, and she matched me to Maui Wowie smoothies. I built it, and that was back in 2000, built into 3 locations, sold it, and I semi retired at 41 years old. I don't say that to brag. I just say that because if I can do it, just a subway guy, anybody could do it because you're plugging into a system. Those people will hold your hand, help you every step of the way from your very first phone call to the time you say, all right, I'm ready to flip it and cash out and go live in the Bahamas on my own island or whatever you want to do. So I chose uncertainty. People were they were beside themselves. My parents, oh my God. Back then, my dad was like, "Are you a jerk? Who's gonna buy a frozen drink in New York in the winter?" You know, all of that comes up against you, all the resistance.
Hey, Daily Coach fans, if you're inspired by this conversation, I invite you to email me right now to explore this franchise opportunity. My email is inquire@kimdaly.tv. So, Tom, what are some of the tips that you offer in your book, Choosing the Magic of Choosing Uncertainty, that help people who are standing at this crossroad choose uncertainty over just sort of staying where they are?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I was actually talking to Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, and we were talking about this. He was interviewing me about this book, and he said everything that you want in life is on the other side of your fear of it.
Mhm.
So you have to face it. And the way you do it is by taking baby steps. That is my, that's like the number one tip. That's the way you do it. If you're afraid to fly, right? That's a big fear or phobia that people have. Don't go buy a plane ticket. Just take a drive to the airport and just watch people.
Right, break it down.
Second day, maybe you go in the airport.
Mhm.
Maybe talk to somebody that is a flight attendant and could kind of explain. I did this video with a guy that taught me how to fly, and he said, "Do you realize that if you're in a 747 and the engines fail, that plane could coast for more than 100 miles before it just doesn't drop out of the sky?" And that's why they had like that Miracle on the Hudson back in the day, because you could actually do that. So once you understand things, knowledge is power. So get the knowledge, understand what it's going to take to buy a franchise. What is it going to take, not only financially, what is it going to take mentally? And you could read books about it. There's tons of them out there that have nothing, like in Magic of Choosing Uncertainty. I never mentioned franchising. So it's not about that, but it's about going after your dreams, and that's the most important thing. Because one thing personally I don't want to do is, when I die, I don't want to meet all the ghosts of the projects that I never did. That would scare the hell out of me.
So just this morning, to bring it back to franchising, I was coaching a candidate who is 1 week into the process. So he just went on his blind dates and he came back and he said, he was real, like, about 3 out of the 4, he was sort of negative, and he went from knowing nothing about these companies to 1 week later, like acting like the expert and telling me all the reasons why they wouldn't work in his market. And I was like, okay, well, so if you want to make a decision today, the only decision you can make is no, right? So, and that's perfectly fine. Like, if that's what you want to do, you can do that. Or you can say, okay, I'm not really educated enough to make a decision today. So I have some thoughts or assumptions about what may or may not be true. And I'm willing to ask the questions to go down go through the process with Kim Daly to learn more, to see if what I'm assuming is true. Because Tom, as and we see this every day, most of the stuff that we assume is true is not true. Most of the stuff that people make up in their minds about failure in a franchise, or about why a certain business won't work in their area, or about themselves feeling unqualified. I don't know anything about this. I'm not qualified to run this business. It's not true if you're willing to ask the question. So, what Tom is saying is, if you want to choose uncertainty, it doesn't have to be like the wild, wild west and gunslinging, where you're like, we're just going to go for it. This is a calculated, educated process, especially when you work with an experienced franchise consultant who can teach you, who can point out your assumptions, who can challenge you to keep going, to keep asking questions before you make a decision. The only decision you can make in almost anything in life, if you go with your assumptions, the only decision you can almost always make is no.
That's so true.
It's true, right? But if you're
So
willing
true.
to find a mentor, find somebody who has what you want, another franchise owner. Like for me, I grew in my business to a level where I wanted to take it to like an unbelievable level. And I had to find somebody who was outside of anybody that I knew. And what's so great is, that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I just put it out there in the universe. Like, I knew exactly the caliber of the person that I was looking to attract into my life, the caliber of the business owner, someone who had a personal net worth that was like what I am dreaming of. And this guy found me. He found me. He didn't find me looking for someone to mentor. But when he found me and I got to know him, I was like, excuse me, I know why you came into my life, and I'm going to ask you to be my personal mentor.
Right. And so you also have to be willing to ask, and you have to be willing to envision what you want. So you have to start with the end in mind, as Dr. Covey said many years ago in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that's what we help you do.
Right.
But you have to be willing to go out of your comfort zone. And that's the biggest thing. You must, life begins at the edge of your comfort zone.
Yeah. So, for those people who are watching this video because you're thinking about changing your life and starting a business in the new year, or changing your life because you're in career transition, or maybe you're an investor who's ready to make another investment. Every single time we try something new, there's that little bit of fear. It doesn't matter if it's your first time or your 100th time. It doesn't matter if your personal net worth is 50,000 or 5 million, right, Tom? Every single person we coach has some amount of fear because you're stepping into the unknown.
Absolutely. Uncertainty is scary. Everybody wants, naturally we want everything to be certain. There's nothing certain. Nothing, nothing.
There's nothing certain.
So you might as well step out of your comfort zone, do more for the universe, society, your family, and yourself.
It's irrational to think that you're going to fail if you've done proper due diligence and you're aligning yourself with a franchisor that you get to know and like and trust and respect, that you believe that you can follow their lead. You validated that with other franchise owners who are doing just that, who are living the life, right, Tom?
I think that it's the most transparent investment that you could make. There's no way you can call the people that bought XYZ stock and say, well, how's that stock doing for you? Or the stockbroker can't tell you, buy the stock because you'll make $1 million. So I think what happens is people get into looking at franchises, and where the danger happens, and the people that do fail are typically people that are not doing the due diligence. They're saying, oh, wow, I see there's a line in this place all the time. I'm going to buy one of these things. And not realizing that you're going to be working nights and weekends, or you're going to be, away from your kids, or whatever it might be. The franchise agreement might be lopsided. There's so many, little pitfalls to look out for that we help you through so you avoid those. And that's one of the overlying problems as well. Is And so then you hear those bad stories. Nobody is writing an article about this great success that somebody had, but they're writing, oh, look at how this guy failed. And so the media is always negative, and so that's a whole nother
And
podcast.
I
But
would take it
uh,
even one step further and say that a lot of the times when franchise businesses fail, it's not because the system failed. It's because the owner failed to execute the system. The owner failed to have dreams. The owner failed to keep choosing uncertainty. So when you're a business owner and you get stuck in your ways about this is how we're going to do it, and you think that year over year it's going to be exactly the same, that's when businesses get in trouble. So I've been a franchise consultant for 19 years, going on 20 years in 2022. I have been working with two lead sources that have been my primary lead sources for 18 of those 19 years. Both of them went away this year. Now, I have been preparing for this moment since day one because I knew since I couldn't control those lead sources, eventually something may happen to them. I'm a little bit freaked out, but I'm not entirely freaked out because I look at it as, wow, this is an opportunity for me to expand myself and to grow. But it's that moment right there when businesses fail, not because the business failed, but because the owner failed to be willing to adapt, to see it as a positive, to push through it, to adapt and overcome. It's those moments that make businesses fail. And that all goes back to the owner. So if you're watching this video and you want to choose uncertainty, you want the magic of living a life that you get to own and control, because that's the thing. You are going to own it and control it when you pick uncertainty, when you learn how to measure uncertainty, and when you learn how to control, if you will, uncertainty. And there are so many options available in franchising and so many resources like Tom and I who can help you learn everything you need to learn so that you can feel like when you take that leap and you're going to land in the safety net, in the comfort of a franchise system, that it's really going to be an exhilarating leap, not a super scary leap. Right, Tom?
I really can't add any more to that. So well said, and such great energy. You just rock.
I
Just
get going. Sorry.
Kim.
I invite Tom to be the guest and then I did all the talking. No, but
It's like,
seriously, this book, so I would, Tom, can you find the book on Amazon?
yeah, it's on Amazon. On my website, whatever.
And your website
Um,
is?
thefranchiseacademy.com.
Thefranchiseacademy.com. Guys and gals, women, men, Kim Daly
Boys and girls
followers.
of all ages.
Yep. Thank you for being here with us today. Tom, thank you for being my special guest and talking about this subject that, I gets me so fired up. I could keep going on it for hours and hours and hours, but this is what life is about. This is what the Daily Coach is all about. This mindset coaching. When you want to live the life of your dreams, you have to learn to control that moment. You have to be willing to focus on what you want, which is sometimes different from your present reality. I I have spent 19 years mastering that moment for myself. Tom has spent 16, he said on the last podcast, 16 years as a franchise consultant, but a lifetime because he chose uncertainty when he left the subway and that secure job that his family was so proud of to become a business owner. And he lived that magical experience. And now he's here to share that with you. That's why we love what we do. If one of us can be your consultant, we would both love to. We'll put Tom's contact information in the description below. Thank you for being here with me today, Tom.
My pleasure. Always an honor, Kim. You rock.
You rock. Until next time, my name is Kim Daly, and I want to be your daily coach. If you found this inspiring, please contact me at inquire@kimdaly.tv. My consulting services are totally free to you. Again, that email is inquire@kimdaly.tv. I can't wait to hear from you.